Okay, so you want to go from something like this to something like this. Today I'm going to show you how to build your own AI kids book creator for free. No, you don't need to be a developer because we're going to be using Google's AI Studio, which is basically a free online workspace where anyone can test your ideas using Google's AI models. When you're done, we'll be able to download the code if you choose to do so, or you can just run it in this workspace. So in this video, we're going to take a story idea, turn it into a kid's book, generate consistent illustrations, and do it all step by step. So let's get into it. So I've seen Google AI Studio in a nutshell. You just need to know kind of what you're asking for, and we can prompt it in here in this box here. And this is where you put everything they call prompts in here, which is just text, and create an app. So again, I'm starting off at Google AI Studio, logged in with my Gmail account, which is what you need. So my first prompt is going to be to tell it what to build. And we're wanting to have it build a web app. And the only thing that's kind of techy is that the part about the React and using React, TypeScript, and Tailwind. I thought about leaving that off, just recording that, but through kind of trial and error, it will eventually land on these three here. It saves a little bit of time if you kind of know that you want it to be in this format. The main feature that I think I'm struggling with here is the getting the character consistency. So I'm specifying that I want it to make sure that the characters are consistent. And then you might be thinking, wouldn't that be logical? With AI images, it tends to put a cat where a dog should be, or, when you don't specify an animal, or when you upload an image, in my case, a mouse or a cat, it might put something else when it generates the images. I want to make sure that it uses my images consistently across my storyboard that we're going to create. Let's click build, and it'll take you to this window here. The part on the left is kind of all the work that it's going to be doing when it spits it out. On the right hand side is going to be what you're going to see as the app is being built, and we'll just kind of go through it all. Okay, right here, without doing anything, we can go ahead and give it a test. Okay, so it's creating my story, which is good. Okay, so it wants me to define the story. That's not what I want. So I'm going to stop right here. What I'm going to tell it here is I want it to start with a project, right? Because the goal is eventually for me to be able to create multiple books inside of here, and I want to keep them organized with all of my images. So I'm telling it I want to start with a project. I then want to upload my character images and a style reference image. Once these are named, I want to have the option to input my story idea. As tell it kind of example of what you want to see. So in this case, I'm saying Bob and Sally go to the farm. Not too creative, but that's not the point. And then I also put in there that I wanted to use kind of a storyboard format, which again, kind of my preference. Let's see how it looks. All right, it looks like it's done. So I'm going to upload my characters. Okay, and then my style reference is going to be a pencil art. Also, I wanted to explain why I've got characters set up this way. One of the things that I'm seeing is that when you're trying to get character consistency, it's a good idea to have a bunch of images from different angles. And you might be saying, hey, how did you do that? I did that in Google AI Studio. You can do it. I have the tab open here. Basically, I uploaded a picture of my character, and then I just basically told it, create a full body image, and that's what it did. And then I did the same thing for the cat. And we're going to say, Bob and Sally go to the farm. This is a lot of description. Interesting. So we've got that as a story. So I'm going to have it illustrate the scene, and we'll see what we get off the bat. But as you can see, it only did 6 scenes. I may ask it to do a couple of things. One is, see, it did not adhere to that. So already it's broken, and I really want to stop right here and reprompt this to get that character consistency. Okay, so I went ahead and typed in a note here. Basically what I'm telling it is that it's critical to have the character consistency because that's the whole purpose of this. And I want it to make sure to reinforce that anything that I upload is going to be my absolute source of truth. Importantly, what is really, really good is I uploaded the examples of my characters that you saw me creating from, just to let it know that Bob was this way, Sally was this way, and then the image, I took a screenshot of this page right here, this image that I don't want, and told it just to give it context. All right, it says it's done. I'm getting a pop-up that's telling me to browse for my characters. You're just not seeing it. Okay, the slider still doesn't work. Oh, there it does work. Okay. And I may go ahead and have it create some sample dialogue so that when I'm ready to export this to Canva, it already kind of gives me an idea of the way I want the story to flow. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now we're going to go and generate all of these scenes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take screenshots of this one here and of this one here, and I'm just going to describe what I want to have happen. In this one, I want it to adhere more to a pencil art, not necessarily with the color, but with the pencil art. It should be able to figure that out. You shouldn't have to do anything. And then this one here, maybe make the characters not overwhelm the background. A peaceful sunset. And I probably want to add something about the dialogue, because I really do want to get some dialogue generated in this so I can save that for when I upload to Canva. So that one's not bad. I went ahead and grabbed a screenshot of this, grabbed a screenshot of this, and I'm basically telling it, hey, this doesn't look right. It's not maintaining my image, and I want it to look exactly the way that the pencil art is. I explained that in the second image that the overlay doesn't look right. And then I also decided to go ahead and add in a little box for my dialogue, so that it can kind of help capture my ideas. It looks like it's finished while I was talking, and let's see what it looks like here. So I'm going to go upload my Bob. And we'll do the style reference here. See what happens. Okay, so we've got our dialogue, which is cool. That's exactly what I wanted. Wanted to be able to have it tell me the story ideas. You still have work to do in something like Canva where you can get it ready for, actual formatted for publishing. That isn't the purpose of this. This is just kind of the streamline, creating the story and getting your ideas down. Even if you're just saving the ideas for something else. I'm going to go ahead and generate the rest of these images. Actually, that looks really cool. So that doesn't look bad. Honestly, I think we're in pretty good shape. There may be some things like, okay, so this is kind of interesting, I guess, if you wanted to kind of have an idea. I would think that the dialogue should be in here. So it looks like there's no way to get off this screen. So I'm going to tell it that's broken, restart that. I went ahead and told it that I want to be able to create a project because I really just want to be able to see everything on all my projects that I'm creating, all my books on the left-hand side on the column. Again, personal preference. You can do it any way you want. I just wanted to, this is kind of what I was wanting. So we're going to go and start the process again. And also as a final step, I'm going to add in something to allow me to make sure that I can export all of the images and the story dialogue text in a prompt. So, and that's useful again, if you're taking this to Canva or somewhere else, you having all those images to where you can just drag and throw on your Canva or whatever tool you're using to do the illustration formatting before you get it uploaded to your publisher. Because again, it's just trying to make your life a little easier because you may have a specific use case that goes beyond this. I just wanted to show that it can be done. Like if you wanted to create just regular adult stories, you could totally do it the same way and not focus so much on the illustration side. Even the young adult books, you may have like, maybe some pencil art or something that you want to do to reinforce the scene where it's not necessarily on every page, but just something stylistically. You could totally do that in here. So we're going to illustrate a scene here. And now you see I've got my border here so I can see all my projects listed out. And I have the ability to edit them, which I did put in the prompt here because I had that problem before and it's kind of annoying. It creates it, but then it doesn't let you rename it in case you just want to shorten the name or you want to lengthen the name. Okay, so I've generated all these and regenerated this one just because I didn't like the way that it looked. But if you go through and look, it is following the prompts. So it's created everything. It created a story. Bob stands here, mouse happily in the group. We got the furry chicks. That's actually a funny picture. Him fighting with the carrot. The dialogue says, the carrot is bigger than you, Bob. That's funny. I'm going to generate this again. And honestly, it wasn't that bad, to be truthful with you. And when you think about a kid's book, probably has a little bit of latitude for you to make some changes. Actually, that doesn't look too bad either. But as you can see, the original image I used looked more like this, and it's now kind of coloring it in a way that actually looks pretty good to me. And so I'm going to do the view book. So it added the X button just because I said, all I had to say is, hey, you can't close it. And you could have actually done a screenshot and showed it that there was no X. I'll be honest with you, the things that you can do as you go along are a lot faster because it already has all the context that you've given it. So we're going to try the new story since we're here. And I'll go ahead and make that. I've got Bob and Sally go to the farm, and then I have here. So I want to say, here's my Bob and Sally go to the farm, and then here's the project that you haven't finished. So you can go back to it. So you could leave it, come back to it, and it would still be there. Now, the first image, as you notice, it created multiple images here. And that's something that you're going to have to kind of reprompt through. And I'm going to create the rest of these. Okay, looks like all of our images are finished. And they don't look bad. Again, the little bit of height disparity on some of the characters, like this one here, wire cherries floating in the middle. But again, kids book, you might be a little more forgiving on that. I'm going to try and take a screenshot of just this scene one along with the text this time, and mention that it needs to be looking at my character sheet again. Okay, so I decided to go ahead and take a screenshot of this, including the text, and I wanted to include this one here, including the text. So I uploaded those, each one of those images, and basically I'm telling it that it's adding extra animals and that that whenever it's generating the images, I want it to use my character images. And if it wants to add other characters, that they should not match my main characters. And again, the thought is to allow the tool to kind of understand, and so it can code that in there, some of those variations. You'll get to a place where it'll just work and you won't have to do this all the time. But if you do need to do it all the time, or if there's a feature that you wanted to add, like I had another version of this where I created coloring books, very similar. I basically had the option of creating a character book or a coloring book, and you could do that too. Finished generating all these images and they look pretty good. Not sure why Sally's got a sad face, but let's see. Oh, because she's got worried eyes. Okay, well, that would be right. So Sally's not ready for an adventure, apparently. And I'm just reading this out loud just because I'm always curious to make sure that it's following the prompt. And I think overall it doesn't look bad. And so I think that is pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and try and create another story here. Let's go outer space. See if it does something, what it does for that. Who knows? It might be, you might see a bunch of houses in outer space. You never know. Okay, it finished and I went ahead and generated all of the images so we can kind of see it. Kind of fun. It's kind of fun. They're building their spaceship and getting it taped and painted off and ready to fly. This box idea, I think that's kind of cool. And again, that was something I didn't really plan on doing. I just kind of wanted to see what it would look like. I'm going to do one last thing, which is add in a way for us to download this. Okay. So we're done. We've got our export project button. It did make me recreate the entire story again, as I kind of expected. So when you click it, it's going to save it to a zip file. That is pretty much it. The only thing that you'd want to do before you exit and close the app is to go ahead, get a backup of all of your settings so you don't have to do all this again. So let's say you wanted to take this finished app and maybe give it to somebody else and maybe share it. Tell it inside the app here to summarize itself. Basically, just a little short prompt. Help me summarize my application so I can take it and basically use it and recreate the app in a single prompt. I'm going to have this as a link in the description in case you just want to take it and paste it and save some time to make your own app. If that's what you want to do, totally go for it. And when you're ready, you can exit out back to start, or everything's under your apps. Your story illustrator will be here, and along with any of the other ones that you create. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments, and like and subscribe and do all the good things. If you like this kind of content, let me know.